All right, what's going on, Titans fans? It is the A to Z Sports Titan pregame live. Sam Phelan with Easton Freeze here, previewing an AFC South divisional matchup between the Titans and the Houston Texans. Will Levis looking to continue the momentum he's built over the last 2 weeks since returning to the lineup healthy, looking for his first divisional win as the Titans starting quarterback. So Easton and I are going to go over a couple of the keys today for the Titans and what might be a frisky game, maybe a little bit of a trap game for Houston, and what the Titans have to do to win, what Will Levis needs to do to take the next step, and where we think this one will fall. We'll give you X factors. We'll predict the final score. We've got all of that to get through. It's going to be a good show, so welcome on in, Easton. We started a little bit late. We're going to try and power through it here before kickoff, but tell the folks what to do.
You got to like the show for us this morning. Help us out. Like that show. You know the deal. When it's Sam and I, the bosses are away. That means we have to get to 50 likes on each show or we get fired. Those are the rules. And boy, have we been cutting it close. Let's be comfortable today. Let's get those numbers up and hit the like button for us on Facebook, on YouTube. Then hop in the chat like Pistol Ramsey, Robbie Hammer, Henry, Titans, Kyle, Steven, Josh, all of you guys already with us. Appreciate y'all being here. Let's preview what should be an interesting game. Hopefully is an interesting game. You're so late into the season, and it's only the second divisional game for the Titans. They're about to go on a run of a bunch of these, so looking forward to talk about some AFC South.
All right, well, welcome in officially to the Titan pregame show powered by X Golf Nashville and BetMGM. Going to give some love for our partners as we hop in here this morning. They're X Golf Nashville and now in Murfreesboro as well. The home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee. At X Golf, you can play, train, and entertain. Go to playxgolf.com to make your reservation. BetMGM, log in today to get your Pro Football Boost Pack to acquire tokens for more winnings. BetMGM is an official partner of the Tennessee Titans. T-Dot, be part of the solution to end littering and make sure that nobody trashes Tennessee by visiting nobodytrashestennessee.com to figure out how exactly you can help out and how you can do your part. Easton, I guess we can start here by what I found really interesting this morning. You and I were kind of talking to preview the game, plan the show a little bit, and you told me that you felt like the Titans were going to be more competitive in this game than they had been in a long time, maybe all year, outside of like their 2 wins. But I want you to expound on that a little bit. And what is it about this game, this matchup with the Texans, that has you feeling optimistic on a Sunday morning before kickoff?
Sure, there's a couple things. And, you know, I don't necessarily think it's likely they win this game. I do think that they actually stand a chance, unlike some other big mismatch games. You know, the Titans are 7.5, 8-point underdogs according to Vegas in this game. I can tell you that, number one, Vegas does love the Titans to cover today. So we'll talk about the bets later on in the show, but got a lot of bets on this one. The number one reason is not necessarily the matchup itself. It's not like I think, the Titans are just really built to shut down the Texans. I think it's neither here nor there that these two teams going up against each other. For me, it's the fact that for 2 weeks now, we have seen Will Levis look like a different quarterback than we saw in his rookie year or earlier this year. And the first 2 acts of his career, wrote about that over at A to Z Sports this week. He's looked like a different guy. I've had some conversations with people in the building, both publicly and privately. We've heard about how there's just something different about him since coming back from injury. And maybe it was the fact that, you know, you come in after an offseason where you're deemed the guy, they're building around you, everything's rosy, you're doing commercials, and then you have a terrible month and you get hurt and reality slaps you in the face. And your starting quarterback mortality becomes really real. And it maybe kind of knocks you into line a little bit. And that time off allows you to get your head right. I don't know what it is, but he's acting different. And on the field, he's playing different. And I think you're just a 1 week sample size here. But from his first game back to his second game back, I felt like he improved. And I think that there's a decent chance he does that again today against a good Texans defense. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be a tough task for him. But the other thing is, not only has Will Levis improved the past 2 weeks, in my opinion, I've been saying this for over a month now. I think 5 weeks in a row, this Titans offense has gotten better every single week, ever since the Buffalo game in which they got killed. But that was the first game where we really saw a half of football where we're like, the offense kind of has some life in this one. Like, look at that. They're doing the thing a little bit here and there. You can see the vision. And then it gets a little bit better in Detroit, and it gets a little bit better against, New England, and then the Vikings, and then I skipped the Chargers are in there somewhere. Every week, I've felt like they have gotten closer to what they want this offense to look like. And so with their quarterback back and playing better, and with the offense continuing to look better. I just think that trend line is going to continue to go up. And the last point here is that divisional games are weird. We know this. We saw on Thursday night in the snow in Cleveland. Cleveland was like an 8-point dog or something. Or no, they weren't. They were not that big a dog, but they were not favored to win that game at home. They
Pittsburgh
were home.
had been rolling. Pittsburgh
Right. Pittsburgh had been rolling. They were
Baltimore.
They were home dogs, and they win outright. And you just this time of year you see weird things happen in the division. So I think this is going to be a frisky game for them. I do think that they stand a chance, and I'm excited to see what Will Levis looks like in a third week. It's kind of like once is an instance, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern. I'm looking for that pattern from Will Levis to really believe that he's a different guy now.
Well, let's talk about that pattern a little bit, because I think Will Levis played that game against the Chargers where he didn't turn the ball over. He made some throws, an explosive touchdown to Calvin Ridley, made some plays. There was a lot of criticisms after the game about Levis taking too many sacks and the fact that the Titans offense kind of fell flat on their face. I know you and I differed a little bit in the post-game show when we talked about that. I feel like a big portion of that game for Will Levis looking worse than it actually was the fact that the Titans got so few opportunities on offense, and the Chargers as a bleed offense kind of bled that game and really suffocated the Titans very quickly. I think we saw a better version of Will Levis from that Chargers game in Minnesota, against Minnesota here at Nissan Stadium. Will was creating explosives with his arm. Felt like he was answering penalty with another explosive and a penalty and another explosive, and answered the bell despite pressure, despite getting hit, despite a lot of the odds being stacked against him. He's throwing to Nick Westbrook-Akine for 98 yards and finding Bryce Oliver for big plays. He was making the most of his situation. And then he ended the day with an interception and ruined like the turnovers, no turnovers that he had going on. But I think it was still a step in the positive direction.
Yeah.
That brings us to our first question that we can deal with today. Prediction for Will Levis versus the Texans. Progress, regress, or stay the same?
There it is.
Are we seeing this pattern continue in a linear trajectory? Is it going to be non-linear and maybe it's an up, down, up, down, up, down as he sort of ascends? Or is this a come to Jesus moment for Will Levis? And we all realize that it was a flash in the pan for 2 weeks. Going to ask all of you in the chat, but Easton, your thoughts real quick as we probably have to move rather fast on this one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm banking on a progress here, a progress day from Will Levis. I think that it's going to be that pattern is going to show itself today. And maybe it's the content creator in me that's looking for just a little bit of a spark, a little intrigue here to end the season. But selfishly, I would like Will Levis to make this quarterback conversation interesting going into the offseason. I would.
Well, we look at the chat. Josh says he's going to progress today. We've got progress, stay the same, stay the same, stay the same, stay the same. A lot of stay the same from people. We've got to be progress, a couple more progresses, and a few people saying stay the same. No regress, which I'm pleasantly surprised about in the chat right now. Nobody is saying that he's plummeting back down to, week 2 Will Levis. I, Easton, am going to say he stays the same.
Okay.
And I'm going to say he stays the same and also say that's totally cool. Like,
sure.
Will Levis staying the same. I wrote this on A2ZSports.com last week. Over the last 2 weeks, granted, there are more stats than just your basic ones, but over the last 2 weeks, Will Levis's quarterback rating is that of the 6th best figure in the NFL. If you look at everybody in the league and their season-long quarterback rating, what Will Levis has done over the last 2 weeks would be 6th in the NFL, which means if that was how he played for an entire season, he would be sitting right now with a top 10 QBR in the entire league. You take that from Will Levis in year 2.
Sure.
Like, you absolutely are satisfied with that. So I think staying the same means there's still going to be some imperfections. There still might be some moments that we're like, wish he would have hit that one. There's still going to be pressure in his face with a very good defense in Houston, a good defensive front in Houston, still right tackle problems, still really no disrespect to Nick Westbrook-Akine. One wide receiver that's like a legitimate, like, deep threat. I know that that's kind of blasphemy right now. I love me some NWI, but right, it's not like he's sitting here with weapons on weapons on weapons. There are still a situation that Will Levis is in that is not ideal. So if he continues what he did last week, that's good enough for me. I mean, what we would like to see him just stack 7 more games this season of looking like a solid quarterback that gives you a shot to win a game. And
Absolutely.
so I will say stay the same. I don't think we're going to get a 3 touchdown, no interception, light him up performance where he
Breakout
really
game.
jumps. It's
Right.
not going to be the Atlanta game of 2023.
Nothing's going to be the Atlanta game of 2023.
Maybe by the end of the year, but not right now.
350 yards, 4 touchdowns. We'll see. We'll see.
I mean, Ty Smith says, screw it, 4 touchdowns. Why not? We'll see if that's reflected in your score prediction.
I can give you a couple reasons why not, but
let's get into a little bit to like the game, bigger picture, Easton. You said the Titans might have a chance in this game. Obviously, though, it's going to take them to do a lot of things right to beat a better Texans team.
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to our X factor. When we ask all of the chat here, let me make sure I get this typed out correctly for the chat. Who or what will be the X-Golf X factor for a Titans win today over the Texans? Who or what will be the X-Golf X factor for a Titans win today over the Texans? And while you in the chat are letting us know, I'm telling you about X-Golf. X-Golf Nashville and Murfreesboro has reinvented the player experience by creating the most accurate indoor golf simulators on the market today, giving every person the power to take on the world's top courses, compete in wide variety game formats, improve their swing with lessons in superior analytics, all while being entertained. You can literally play Pebble Beach while having a beer and watching Monday Night Football with your friends at X Golf Nashville and Murfreesboro. It's
a lot cheaper than playing the real Pebble Beach.
Yeah, and arguably more fun.
Let's relax on that.
You can't watch Monday Night Football at Real Pebble Beach. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you can at X Golf. Put it on your phone in the cart. Turn that volume up. Don't worry about it.
Nashville and Murfreesboro X Golf are hosting a holiday scramble starting today with a chance to win tailor-made clubs and gift cards bought online at playxgolf.com are also 20% off on Black Friday. So go to XGolf, playxgolf.com, playxgolf.com to check them out, the home of indoor golf. All right, Easton, what are we seeing here today from the chat? What are the X factors that people think the Titans need to do to beat Houston?
According to Roberto, it's that rush defense. Got to shut down the resurgence, really, of the running back in Houston. I mean, you don't think so? You don't think Joe Mixon's had a little bit of a resurgence?
I would say too, but it's weird to me. I mean, Joe Mixon he's always been good. He's playing the best football of his career right now.
Right. It's really impressive.
Yeah. I don't know what exactly got into him, but we might be ending up with, and he missed a game or two as well, I want to say. So you could end up with like 1,300 yard, 15 touchdown Joe Mixon in 2024. Did not see that one coming.
No, me neither. Titans Kyle says it's the defense as well. Henry says it's the ref. Hopefully we're not talking about the refs like last week. No one enjoys that. Curtis, Nico coming back from his injury, looking 100%, did not in his first game back. We'll see how he looks today. Clayton says it's Pollard. It's a lot on the running game of both of these teams here. Let's see. Right tackle, obviously, always can you really call it an X factor when there's no hope? Like it just is what it is, right? I think an X factor has to be something that could happen.
It's like not an X factor, but it's like, I don't know. It's the thing that if it just magically shows up one day, it fixes a lot of things. But
sure. Yeah. I mean,
your shooting star is like the right tackle.
Right. Exactly.
If you wish upon a shooting star and make NPF good at football again, we'll be great.
Right. Van Jeffrey says it's the special teams. He's praying that the Titans don't do their best Indiana football impression on special teams. Let's see. To be fair to Indiana football, they were really doing their best Titans impression on special teams. Ridley is the
Buck Rising effect.
It is.
Whenever Buck pretends to be a fan of you, you just immediately start sucking.
You forget how to play football. It's Ridley, according to Hammer. Could be a big day for him. Wes says it's Ridley and Brownlee Jr., one for each side of the ball. We got Pollard, big sweat game. He was telling us this week about how he's played at NRG Stadium a couple times in his career, in high school, in college. He'd love for it to be the place for him to get his first sack because that's home. So he'll have a lot of friends and family there to watch this game. Defensive line says MB. Levis' pocket presence from Clayton. I like that answer. Okay, so Sam, I'll let you go first.
By the way, Levis's pocket presence, like number one storyline coming out of the Chargers game. immediately no longer a storyline, maybe because of like some of the refs and some of the other stuff that happened in that Vikings game. So a good answer, because not something that has been discussed enough for how big of a deal a lot of people felt like it was after the loss to the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great in the Vikings game, but it was perfectly fine. It wasn't a disaster like it was in the second half of the Chargers game. So, Sam, what is your X factor today? Because I've got mine locked in. I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah. So my X factor is going to be getting the quarterback on the ground. Get the quarterback on the ground. Contain those damn QB rushing yards that we know just continue to plague the Titans, but every other team that's ever existed too right now in the league, because it's, as you like to say, Easton, the most profitable bet if you go to BetMGM is QB rushing yards.
I'll be talking about that more in a minute.
CJ Stroud can do a lot with his legs, obviously, especially if you let him break the pocket, break contain, if you let him, get out of sacks. But one thing that's been an issue for the Titans defensive front the last few weeks has been getting to the quarterback and not finishing the sack on the quarterback. Hands on your guy, and then you're like, how the heck is Sam Darnold just escaping T'Vondre Sweat, running free and finding a big gain, either with his legs or through the air? I also went back and looked at the quarterback rating for CJ Stroud in every game. He goes under 70 as his quarterback rating of 70. He's under it 4 different times this year. It is the 4 games in which he was sacked 4 times or more this year. 4, 4, 8, 4. Some of these other games are 1, 2,
Who sacked him 8 times?
1, 2, 3. Huh?
Who sacked him 8 times?
8 sacks was the New York Jets. And when the Jets beat the Texans on Halloween. So you have to go and get quarterbacks on the ground. It was an issue against Sam Darnold, who I don't believe they got a couple sacks on Sam Darnold. Was it?
At least one.
I don't think they sacked Justin Herbert at all. And how many times did T'Vondre Sweat? I can say for sure Justin Herbert was not sacked. But there was definitely a few times T'Vondre Sweat, Jeffrey Simmons, somebody had Sam.
They led the league in almost sacks last year.
In almost sacks.
Yeah, they led the league.
So we talk a lot about negative plays, or at least I like to talk a lot about negative plays. The Titans have too many negative plays as a team between sacks, penalties, etc., that puts them behind the chains and kills their drives. And defensively, they've not been generating enough negative plays. They've allowed teams to stay relatively on schedule because their opponents don't get penalized like they do, and their opponents don't give up sacks like they do. So today, if you want to beat the Texans, don't let them get into situations where they can lean on Joe Mixon to just carry the rock and be their bell cow running back who's dominating you. You have to get after CJ Stroud, and when you do, you have to get him down, create negative plays, bring the quarterback to the turf.
My one note on that, by the way, which I think is a good X factor, besides the Drake May game, in the past month or so, what's really been killing them is not the quarterback rushing so much as it is the quarterback getting out of the pocket, extending the play, getting another second or 2, and then, it could go from an almost sack to a 30-yard completion.
Yeah,
that's what's killer.
Herbert and Darnold both felt like, to me, that, I mean, they obviously didn't have any huge runs, but it would be a play where you've got a 2nd down and 10 and you've got the quarterback sacked, and then they end up like escaping and falling forward for 5 or 6. And now you're putting them into a 3rd and manageable when you could have put them in a 3rd down and long. And those things stack up when you're able to extend a drive. And so I really think the Titans' best shot at winning this game is when you do win up front. You have to take advantage of it, because those are the plays that your defense has to turn in order to get a big stop and flip the game on its head.
Yep. All right. By the way, if you're with us live, hit that like button for us on the show. Be a friend of the show. Hit like for us. My X factor today. And by the way, King VC with the super chat. Lock in like the show.
Lock it in, baby. I love it.
Zach Smith is on it here with my X factor. He's talking about how you can count it that Will Anderson Jr. will have 4.5 sacks today. If that happens, things have gone very poorly for the Titans. But it's the pressure on the other side of the ball that I want to talk about. My X factor, something we talked about with the coaches and coordinators this week, about how staying ahead of the sticks is paramount. It is paramount for the Titans against this Texans defense. They are 3rd in the league in total quarterback pressure rate, nearly 40% of passing snaps. They are, so 4 out of 10 times they are getting a pressure on the quarterback. And we talked with Nick Holtz and Brian Callahan this week about how when you are in 3rd and 7 or longer against this Texans team, they have allowed just 10 first down conversions in that scenario. They pin their ears back. They get after you. If you get behind the sticks, and Nick Holtz, by the way, said, if you want to see something really scary, check out 2nd and 8. When a team is in 2nd and 8 or longer, they tend not to get first down against this Texans team. So the margin for error is really, really small. Now, last week we saw against a team that on those behind the sticks, 2nd and 3rd downs, the Vikings love to also pin their ears back, blitz the heck out of you. And Will Levis did a fantastic job countering that. It was his best game against the blitz, probably of his entire career.
Yep.
He was more effective against the blitz than the non-blitz against the Vikings. I have the numbers here just as a reminder. He was 8 of 11, 202 yards, a touchdown, plus 5.7% CPOE on those plays. He was nails on those pressure looks, and it was what kept the Titans in the game and made him look so good. So him playing like that against the Texans team that is certainly going to be in his jock all day long is key. So staying ahead of the sticks, and Will Levis doing what he did last week, whatever that game plan was, whatever his approach was mentally, do that again, baby, because that's your recipe for success today.
All right. Those are our X factors. We'll revisit those after the game to see just how right Easton and I were and see if the Titans execute what we feel like they need to. Let's go ahead and let's get to that prediction time. The Titans +8 against the Texans here on BetMGM. So going to ask you all prediction time. Give us those final scores. Who wins, the Titans or the Texans? Titans again +8 on BetMGM. Don't forget to leave a like on the show here, as we've got about 6 minutes until kickoff. But real quick, if you're looking to back the Titans in this game, you know where to do it. It's BetMGM, the official partner of the Tennessee Titans. Use the code ATOZ Sports and get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. BetMGM is the sportsbook born in Vegas and an official partner of the Tennessee Titans. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only, new customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. First online real money wager only. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. Easton, final scores from the chat and your final score before kickoff here.
Chat is saying 21-17 Houston, 24-10 Texans, 45-17 Texans. Holy cow. I do not think the Texans are scoring 45 points today. Titans win 24-17. Texans 38-3. Texans 31-17. Orlando Jones pointing out 1-9 against the spread. It's true, the Titans worst team against the spread this season, but there's regression always. That yes, they are 1-9, but that is not a sticky statistic. ATS numbers like that always regress. So if anything, they're due, is what I would say. The Texans 24-20 over the Titans, 23-20, 24-10, 38-17. Very few Titans winners in here. Seeing a lot of lose but covers seems to be the consensus, like Ty Smith says. So that's my answer as well, Sam. I'm going with a slight over here because I believe the total is at 40 something.
40 and a half, yeah.
40 and a half. So I'm going to go Texans win 23-21. Titans have a chance to win at the end, come up a little bit short, and cover and look as competitive as they've looked in a long time. 23-21. That's my score. Texans win.
I think this is the easiest over of the year. 40 and a half. I'm going over.
Okay. All right. That's one of your bets. Lock that in.
Yeah. I'm going to say 27-20 Texans win. I think this goes over pretty soundly here. 27-20 Titans get a couple of touchdowns. I think this is a letdown game for Titans defense. I think, we've started to build a little bit momentum defensively. Feel pretty good that they can keep them in a game. But I think CJ Stroud is going to get right here today. I think Joe Mixon's one of the better backs that they've seen in quite some time. So maybe a little bit of a letdown for the Titans defense. 27-20 Texans win. Eric is riding the Titans money line. All right. Well, kickoff is just 2 minutes away here. So I'm going to get out of here. We'll be back at
10 seconds, fire off my bets. We fire them off here. We got a parlay for you guys, right? Joe Mixon, 8-time touchdown scores. 7 of his last 7 games, he's hit that. Nico Collins, 50-plus receiving yards. Also, 8 of his last 8 games hit that. CJ Stroud, over rushing yards. We know quarterbacks run the ball. Will Levis, it's scary. Take it. Over 23.5 rushing yards. Had 7 attempts last week. I think they're going to run him even more today. Chat, by the way, what am I going to say? Always easy auto bet. NWI, anytime touchdown. You better already have it in your bet slip. Not hard. Take the anytime touchdown at NWI. And then my last one here, kind of a weird one. Will Levis, longest passing completion, over 33.5 yards.
Love
I think
that.
that like last week, the plan against the blitz on those 3rd and 8s is Will Levis is just going to go pull the pin on that grenade, lob it down there to see if it can blow up on the Texans defense, take a couple shots to NWI, Calvin Ridley downfield. I think that you're going to get at least one explosive pass. Give me Levis over 33.5, longest completion in this one.
Love it. All right. Well, hey, we'll be back at halftime. We'll recap the first half. You see how right we were, how wrong we were. Usually we're perfectly right, and we never get anything wrong ever on this show.
Nope.
So talk to you guys at halftime. Till then, tighten up. We'll see you later.